Welcome everyone to episode 114 of Raw Sport. My name is Ahmed Al Houli. We have a huge guest with us, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jeff Fenech. Welcome to the show, buddy. How's things?
No, everything's great. A little disappointed to see what happened to Tim on the weekend, but that's life and that's boxing, and that's life. If you don't have people in your corner that know what to tell you, they didn't even know what they. Excuse me, they didn't even know what round it was twice. So, mate, listen. I still honestly believe Tim uh, can do it again, but he has to. Yeah, I mean, forget me. I'm not talking about me. He needs people in his corner that know what's happening, that can tell him what to do. I mean, he done the same thing for every single round. I wonder why he kept getting hit. He got hit the first round. You've got to be able to change. You've got to have an A plan, a B plan, a C plan. You've got to have plans, and you've got to train to do those things. And it's quite obvious that, like I said, I've said this before. Tim's won every fight because he's Tim Tszyu. He hasn't won because people have told him what to do, his corner. He just wins because he's been dominant. Tim needs somebody now, when he's at this new level, to be able to navigate him through and say what he needs to do. And again, no disrespect to those guys because I like them, but they can't help him.
Jeff, we saw in my opinion, in terms of promotion for an Australian champion, I've never seen anything like this in my life. No Limit went all out. They had the NRL players, they had the AFL players, they had the networks, all the News Corps people, had the influencers, they had the podcasters, all in Vegas. Tim had a massive following, even when he was during the fight. He was getting a lot of people cheering him on, so on, so on. The only thing that really stood out to me was that, and again, this is not personal, this is just pure constructive criticism, is nothing different from the first fight. You're fighting a bigger guy. The head movement wasn't there. It just looked like we did the same thing over and over again, and nothing changed.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. But I want to just go back to one more thing. And one thing about the promotion, and No Limit were great, but Fox should be ashamed of themselves having AFL football players, tell fighters what they should be doing. They've got no idea, and to me, it was embarrassing. Listen, I hope Stan promote more boxing events because they've got boxing people there, and I hope Steve Crawley and his crew, I hope they crumble. Now there's no Tim Tszyu. Fox aren't going to be half. I'm just being honest, mate. I mean, they take people out of jobs and they say things, and like I said, they're gonna make the sport better with having AFL players tell them boxers what they should be doing. They've never been in the ring in their lives. How can they explain anything? How can they tell you anything about the sport? But anyway, let's get back to Tim. And Tim, yeah, he was exactly the same Tim Tszyu. He just thought that he'd land a punch again and maybe he would hurt Fundora and stuff. Like I said, that plan didn't work in the first round. Obviously, he needed to change after the first round. Did he change? The whole world's seen it, and they all know. No, he didn't. He needed somebody to tell him to change. He needed to have change in training, having and like I said, a B plan and a C plan. Did he have that? No, not at all. And like I said, Tim can love me or hate me, but I love the kid. I love his family, and it's a shame where he's gone to, because everybody talks about levels in our sport, and he's gone up a few levels, and I thought that he's the one person that would be able to handle it. And I still believe that he can handle it if he's got somebody telling him and navigating what he should do.
Jeff, why the reluctance to change? I don't understand. I'm trying to understand why, if you do something once, it doesn't work out, don't we bring in something different? It's almost like there's a reluctance to change. Why?
Because nobody makes him. Nobody told him to. If I'm the boss, and I believe the trainer's the boss, I mean, of what we do in the gym. Forget about on the outer, but on the inner, when you're in the gym, that's my job. If you're not going to listen to me, I'm out. Like I said, no disrespect to them. They've had a fight between the 300 of them in the corner. They've had no fights in their life. So how can they tell anybody how to change and what to do?
Very good question. And what is it with them not knowing what round they're in? I mean, it's almost like we get to the highest level and we all of a sudden crumble. We can't we don't know what to do because it's not like they haven't been there before. We can't say that anymore, Jeff. They were there a year ago.
Listen, it's quite embarrassing for me listening. It was embarrassing. For them to give Tim the opportunity to say that he had enough instead of them doing it for him, that's the most embarrassing thing. I could see in Tim's eyes at the end of the seventh round when he stood up and not sat down that, maybe he just had enough. And man, that's their job to tell the officials he stopped. Yeah, when people think, oh, a boxer said he's going to stop, oh, he's got no courage, he's done this, he's done that. That's their job to do that. And again, they didn't do their job. Tim said he didn't want to fight. I mean, what boxer says that? I mean, unless you're with people that are in your corner that haven't got the audacity or the brain to say it for you because they can see it in your performance, they can see it in your eyes. I see it in Tim's eyes.
I think they ruined this kid's career, if I'm going to be honest. I think he was poorly managed in his corner. And what's the obsession? What was the obsession with the Fundora rematch? What good came out of the first fight? Why go back there? Why not take a different route?
Yeah, look, we can say that, but you got to take your hat off to Tim for wanting to do that. And like I said, the first time when I spoke to Tim about his cut head, all he wants to say is how much courage he showed. Forget about showing courage, brother. It's my job to stop the fight so you don't get hurt. You don't have to show courage. Everybody knows how much courage you got when you step into the ring. But like I said, I'm not sure. Listen, Tim's a very loyal kid, but there's loyalty and then there's loyalty. I mean, you be loyal to people who deserve loyalty, and I'm not saying that his team don't deserve loyalty, but once again, like I said, only I don't want to know. Listen, they should have again had their little red noses on in the corner and been at a circus instead of a fight because they've got no idea what's happening when they're there. And like I said, they're just blessed that they've got two guys, Nikita and Tim Tszyu, who can fight and don't need instructions. When they started to need instructions, look what happened. Look what's happened.
That's a very valid point, actually.
Look
When
what's
the
happened.
natural ability wasn't enough, in any sport, you always reach a level where your natural ability is not enough. You need that guidance externally. It
But
wasn't
when you
there.
find it, that's exactly right, Ahmed. When you find out it's not enough, you need somebody that's going to maneuver you through that. They're going to say, listen, this round, please, let's do this. Step outside that jab. Listen, Ahmed, he jabbed to the body and landed on about 10 occasions, Tim. Every time he landed, he jumped back out straight to the range of Fundora. Fundora hit him 5 or 10 times. Why not jab, then come over the right hand or jab and go to the right hand side and hit him where he can't see you? I mean, that's, it's for me, it's simple. I've been there and done it. For the boys in the corner that have never done that in their lives, it's difficult. So that's why they shouldn't be there when it's a difficult fight.
We saw the adjustment from Fundora. He tried to keep him at bay with that jab, and that's how he dropped him the first time. Well, it was the only time he dropped him. He dropped him because he had him at bay and just landed that left hand, and it was all. It was. He then kept doing that throughout the whole fight. If you go back and look at
because that's all he had to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he didn't have to do anything else. And let me just tell you something. What Fundora done the other day for me, because I've always known he's a very, very good fighter, but did I think he was how he adjusted and what he done was he walked through Tim Tszyu. Tim was going to walk through him. He walked through Tim. When Tim in that seventh round, when Tim thought, everything's changing, Fundora came back and done it to him twice as bad.
Absolutely. He got like a second win. I thought he got his legs back there. I think it was the fifth or the sixth round. He started to come back a bit, but then Fundora just adjusted and came straight back.
What Fundora done was he bit his mouth guard and said, anything you're going to do, I'm going to do better. And he did that.
Wow. The one thing that I would say is I wish his corner had called off the fight and read between the lines. Not him. It's that's what corners usually do. It's a thing of it's holding the honor of a fighter.
Just knowing. Let me tell you something. I mean, and I don't, like I said, when they asked him to do the question in the ring, he didn't answer. He said, "What a mother fucking tough guy." Fundora was. I mean, he shouldn't be answering them questions. They're the questions for the corner to answer. Why did you stop the fight? Easy answer. Tim was getting hurt. He wasn't his best tonight. Let's go. We're going to sit down and go through it and see what happens in the next fight. If that's what Tim wants to do, not let Tim be called a lot of things that people are calling him today. I remember when Roberto Duran did that to Ray Leonard. He was the laughing stock of the sport. Everybody, he did this, he did that. Like I said,
They still talk about it until now,
yeah, of
unfortunately.
course they do. Yeah.
Did you see the comments made by Turkey Al Sheikh about Tim?
Yeah, I did.
What are your thoughts on a senior figure in the sport making such comments?
Yeah, obviously, there's a bit of bad. There's got to be bad blood there. He's got nothing to do with him. So better talk about people. But like I said, there's obviously a bit of bad blood through some negotiations. But I would like to think if I was Tim, I would prove Turkey wrong. I know it's saying but I still think Tim has all the skill and ability in the world. He just needs a path to go down. He needs to change what he's been doing for the last since he's been a little kid, and I'm honestly definitely sure that he has the ability to do that because he's such a gifted young boy. Well, not young anymore, but still he's so gifted. Or he's young to me anyway. But I just think that that would be motivation to me. If I was that fighter. Although, like I said, sometimes when your career's done and it's done. But I don't know. I still look at Tim this way. I still look at Tim this way. If he done things right, not only could he win, but he could win easily. But he didn't do anything during that fight. That was strategic. That except he stood in front of him and tried to knock him out.
Yeah, he did. He tried to go toe to toe with him, which was not a good idea. He's the bigger man, heavier man. Jeff, can he really come back after he's had 3 really hard losses?
Yeah, I know it's a big question. But like I said, I still think if somebody told him how to do things and he'd done them, like I said, I think that with a good trainer that knows about boxing, he can beat Fundora if they had a trilogy. I really do.
Don't you think mentally he's finished?
No, I don't. I mean, don't listen. Mentally is the biggest part of our sport. 80% mental, 20% physical. But I don't know. Like I said, all I believe is that if you're with somebody and you love being in that gym with them and you walk out there every day and think, wow, that was great, I'm going to do this. Oh, I've just learned something today. Yeah, you can do things. But like I said, he's like he's in a quagmire where he's just sinking every time, and he's now sunk 3 times. And and no disrespect, but like I said, I don't think Fundora is the greatest fighter in the world. Like I said, he's been knocked out, whatever.
Yeah, he's been better before.
Yeah, what he did show the other day was somebody who went back, looked at the drawing board and studied and stuff. And listen, and I can't really say much because I did the same against the Zuma Nelson, the second fight. I just thought I was going to kill him. Although I didn't look, it was. I thought after the draw, I'm just going to go out and beat him. He watched videos, and I just went out, relaxed, and lived a great life because I'm now going to be 4-time world champion, making more money than I've earned. So it's exactly what you're saying. I mean, it's a tough task. But like I said, and it's mentally. Like I said, I just thought I was going to kill this guy. I'm sure Tim was confident again yesterday.
Where's he go from here, Jeff?
Well, he's in Vegas now. He comes to Sydney, and he sits with his team, which are no limit.
Yeah.
And he needs to make a decision. Yes, like I said, I don't care what anybody says. And again, I hate saying things, but his corner don't know nothing about fights. Between them, they've had no fights. Of course, they've sat there. Listen, they've sat there with Costa Tszyu and Costa. Listen, sitting down with Costa Tszyu, my grandmother can be his trainer and still win the world title with him. They don't have to tell him anything, So, like I said, Tim's got some big decisions if he wants to fight anymore. And does he need to? No, we don't. Does he need to get hurt? No, we don't. He's having a family, yes. So if I was him, my first priority would be my family. And if I was going to risk it, I would go and train with somebody who knows about the sport of boxing.
Well, there you go. Well, we wish Tim all the best. Hopefully, he chooses the